What is happening, fans? Welcome to another issue of the Comic Bookies podcast. Back again for another week of colliding the worlds of sports and comics. 139 is here. Let's get it going. In the sports section this week, our man Klay Thompson is back for the Warriors. We're going to have our reactions from the game, from his performance, and league-wide. The Georgia Bulldogs have done it. They are national champions. First time since 1980. We have a reaction, and our boy Mark does win money on this game, so very, very exciting. And in the NFL, a wild Week 18 to head into a wild card weekend. The Raiders and 49ers are in the playoffs, two of the best games we've seen in a long time, and our TCB Super Contest has been crowned. And our TCB Super Contest has crowned its winner or winners. You're just going to have to continue to listen on. And in comics, plenty of comics to get into this week. I am up to date, so last week's comics we will discuss this week. And plenty of news, including Eternals releasing tomorrow, Peacemaker premieres on Thursday, and the unfortunate passing, another death, Bob Saget. But all that and more on a brand new issue of the Comic Bookies podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Let's go. All right, a couple breaths needed there. I don't know why.
Yes.
It's like one of those things where you have that, like, it's stuck in your head, like how you're going to be saying it, and then you don't say it that way. So you're like, crap. Like, what I just said was cool, but I'd like to have it what I really wanted to say. So, hello everyone in live land. Thank you so much for watching the episode this week. YouTube and Twitch. I don't say this like ever. I don't think I've ever said this, but if you're watching right now, if I have your attention these first like 5.5, 6 minutes of the recording, share this with your friends, man. It's cool kind of getting the behind the scenes look at the episode. You get to actually like watch it and listen to it like live. And then also that way tomorrow you also give us a download on iTunes or iHeartRadio. So it's like double whammy. You get to watch us and listen to it all at the same time. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for sharing with us. You know, we've had some success so far in the beginning of the year, some huge download numbers into from December and into January. So hopefully that, you know, continues into 2022. You know, Mark's been posting a lot more on Twitter, so we appreciate that. I posted a short for the first time in a while on YouTube. So yeah, we're going to start, you know, my work schedule now. I'm getting used to it, so we'll go ahead and get, you know, more on social media. And physically at conventions, right, Mark? That's what you're most excited for.
Definitely. Gotta get to a con. I don't know. Gotta get to a con if it's not for this damn Omri con.
Right.
It's just messing.
Okay, there you are, sir, on Twitter. Let's go ahead and like that and retweet that. Gotta get that. Remember that song? Boom, boom, boom. That was a decent album. Just want to shake your booty. All right. Let's do it. Back to episode 139 in 5, 4, 3. And back again, like every single week, we are the Comic Bookies podcast. Damn. See? Did it again. I had something that in my head that I was going to say, but then I messed up. And welcome back, everyone, to the Comic Bookies podcast, episode 139. Again, thank you so much for watching right now live on YouTube and Twitch. Please go and subscribe and follow the pages. And thank you so much for listening wherever you get your podcasts. We are on numerous platforms: Apple iTunes, Amazon Prime Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google. All your Android devices can get it. So thank you so much for joining us. We are brought to you by Treasure Island Comics in Fremont, California. Tomorrow, Wednesday, January 12th, 2022, is New Comic Book Day. So go see Alex. Great shop, great community. He's going to start your pull list. He can get you anything you want, old, new, and if he doesn't have it, he'll order it for you. Sean is still on paternity leave, so it's just me, myself, Mike, and Mark again this week. Mark, how's your week so far been? Early in the work week for you. I'm in the middle of my weekend, but how's it going, dude?
It's been good. It's been good, man. It's Tuesday as we're recording this, and weather's been a little bit drier here in Northern California, even though I know we need the rain, and it's been pretty wet. Had a pretty long week of some rain, but it's dried up a little bit. Even some good 60-degree weather out here, hop on the hog and whatnot. But, man, it's been pretty good. Excited to get back at it this week and get into this national championship talk, this sports that we watched. Week 18 was crazy. The mini contest was crazy. I'm sure that wild card weekend is going to be crazy. We saw some picks that Sean actually sent us. I'm sure you remembered very early to ask him for picks, even though the contest is over, but just for a little bit of fun. And I saw that he's backing a lot of faves. So we're going to get into that talk later. And man, a couple of my posts that I put got a little bit of traction on Twitter, kind of trying to revitalize my posts. Been kind of slacking, obviously, just due to situations, just last 2 years with this damn virus. And just, if you guys listened, obviously, my wife's father-in-law the other week and whatnot, but it's been crazy times. But I'm trying to get back into the swings of things, post a little bit more, be a little bit more dedicated to the social media, at least mine personally. So I did put out some tweets about some good books that I've read. Kind of good to get another Source Point Press offering. Shout out Source Point Press for the retweet and all of the artists and, writers that actually retweeted me and whatnot, for, Erica Schultz, the Aftershock book we'll get into. But yeah, man, just pretty good to see that after not tweeting for a while, but to get that type of feedback and just ready to get back on it, man. I feel like, January 11th today, we're in the swing of things now where the holidays are over. New Year's is pretty much over. Traffic's picking back up and people are, week 18's over. College football's over. So now it's like kind of back on the grind, start this new year. I'm a Joey Logano fan, 22 and 22 when I was born on the 22nd. So this has to be my year, right? I gotta quit slacking and pick it up myself, man. Got a few pounds to shed and whatnot. And, not that I want to make it a resolution.
But you should also,
I hate making resolutions.
You should strive to lose 22 pounds at least. Like in 2022, by the end of 2023, right? you have to be down 22 pounds and keep it off at least. That's a good goal.
I like that. I mean, I should be able to do that at least by my birthday,
October,
right?
Yeah. Heck
October. Yeah. Right, just 3 pounds a day, 3 pounds a month.
Like
I'm good.
It sounds so easy.
And we're getting older, it's like just like recovering from you taking a couple of drinks and whatnot. We don't recover like we used to back in our 20s, man.
Brings up I was running with my daughter, just playing around. It was back in November, actually. I think it was right around Thanksgiving, right before or right after Thanksgiving. And she's on her scooter, the little Razor scooter, but it's more like a kid one, And I'm just racing her on foot, right? And so I give her a head start. She's gonna go the length of the, go around the court. You know how we live in the court. She's gonna go from our house all the way around the court and start heading the other way. And I let her get halfway, so at the very tip of the court, and I start running and I race after her. And about 80% into the run, I feel a tweak in my foot. I was like, what the hell? So I kind of stop and it hurts so bad that I kind of have to sit down for a minute, right? And now ever since then, if I walk on it continuously, it's fine. Disneyland, it didn't really hurt at all. But right now, if I've been sitting down for half an hour so far. If I get up to walk, the first 10 steps, I can barely walk. It hurts so bad. So before I called a doctor, have to set up an appointment and whenever I talked to my sister-in-law earlier today, actually, she's a doctor and and she goes, what? From professional experience and from personal experience, what you're describing, it sounds like plantar fasciitis. I was like, oh no. So I was hoping it was a fracture or a tear, because at least you can, either surgically repair it and rehabilitate it. But plantar fasciitis, you gotta, like, there's nothing really you can do. You can, like, kind of personal therapy it, like kind of stretches and stuff to kind of like make it go away. And it could go away after a couple months, but then it could linger back. Like, it's like, no wonder these football players miss like a whole season just due to like a little foot injury. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it freaking hurts sometimes.
Well, yeah. I don't know if you have insoles in your shoes or not, but I actually dealt with plantar. I mean, it pretty much was a plantar fasciitis because I actually went to the doctor and I got x-rays because it was hurting so bad. I wanted to see if I had like a minor fracture, and they said no. And it's crazy because I always buy these Timberland insoles. I bought them ever since I was doing construction like years ago. The honeycomb, they got the honeycomb cushion at the bottom. They're the Timberland ones, the anti-fatigue. And I've gotten them like 4, 5, 6 times. I mean, I always get them with like different types of boots, or when they get old, I'll buy the new ones. This time I went to Work World, they didn't have my size. So I was like, oh, they had some Georgia boot. Speaking of Georgia, the Georgia Dogs, but they had some Georgia boot ones that kind of look the same, right? Anti-fatigue, whatnot, a little bit thicker. And I get them, and dude, like 2 weeks later, my feet are killing me, and I'm like, what's going on? So pretty much, make a long story short, me and my like coworker, I was even wearing like my Crocs at work, dude, like a nurse, because dude, my feet were hurting so bad. Obviously, I'm working at a building that there's not really anyone there due to these COVID protocols and whatnot. So my boss was kind of cool with me just like kind of moping around in my Crocs for like a week, right? But what I did is I went to a store called Fleet Feet, and they put your feet on this pad, and it takes like kind of like a diagram, like photocopy of your foot, and they email it to you. It tells you like how much of an arch you have, how wide your foot is, dude, everything. It takes a complete measurement of your whole foot. It's actually pretty wild. And then I got these, they're called Super Feet. They're insoles. So you might want to check that out, because after I got those, it went away pretty quick. But it was to the point where like it was so bad, like my legs were swelling up, like with blood. Like it was like I bought some shoes, like all the size 12s that I was trying on felt tight. It's like I needed 12 and a halves and 13s, and my feet were like swollen. Yeah, dude, like not being able to walk sucks. That plantar fasciitis. Fans, if you guys had some of that PF,
I know, right?
Let us know. Tell Mike what he should do. I kind of given him my idea what I did, but yeah, I had it like on both feet, and that's how I know that it was those insoles that I got, because nothing changed. I had the same boots, same everything, and it's just all of a sudden my 2 feet are just killing me. It sucked, but thank God it didn't last that long, because I know that I do hear sometimes it can feel like, or it's like goes on for months. I know somebody said that they had it before, and it's like right when they got out of bed, they stepped down, and it's like they were stepping on
like when I get out of bed, that's the hardest first 15 steps of the day. Is like I'm like out, like I feel like I need to like drop to the floor. It hurts so bad.
So, that's plantar fasciitis for sure. So what you have to do is they actually have a boot, because your foot is supposed to be like back like this. So there's a boot that you wear overnight that keeps your foot from going down. It keeps your foot like always like in a stretched position. You should look into that. You can even get it like at a CVS. I wore it for like a day. My dad had it for his plantar fasciitis, and I tried it on. Kind of a weird feeling because it's got your foot pushed back like you're stretching it. But hey, that might be what you need. At least it's only on one foot, right? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think I had a different type of plantar fasciitis, because they asked me the same question about, like right when you get out of bed, the first thing in the morning, do you feel it? I'm like, not really. It's more like when I get to work, put on some shoes, start walking around. Yeah. But yeah, that sucks. But
sports, comics, and the medical industry. Comic Bookies podcast. We are well versed and in all of those. So very multi-dimensional.
I mean, like you say, it always comes back. It always comes back to sports, though. Like you said, I can see how some of these players stay out for
I know, right?
Injuries,
so tonight for the sports sections, we're doing sports first tonight, bro, and we're going to be doing football, hoops, football. So the first of the night,
into it.
You went out, had a good time, made some money as well. So please give us your experience. I mean, I watched the game from home, and it was actually to the point where I was kind of like going back and forth, doing, just like the normal house chores and stuff, putting the kids to bed towards the end of the game. So I really only watched about 65% of the game. So how did that national championship game go? Very boring in the first half, only a 9-6 game in the first half, and then just a bunch of points in the second half. So how was your experience with it?
Speaking of that real quick, though, I'm looking at the lines. The lines are changing on my screen right here, and I actually just see the Raiders line go down. Was at 6, 5.5 right before we started recording this podcast, and now I see it at 5, plus 5. Money coming in on the Raiders, man.
Georgia Bulldogs.
Money coming in, but back to the national championship, Georgia Bulldogs, man. They get it done. Kirby Smart finally gets the monkey off his back. Kirby Smart finally gets to beat Nick Saban, his old mentor, if you will. But, man, good game. You said the first half was kind of boring. In a way it was, but I guess it's who you ask, right? If you ask some of those old school smash mouth Big Ten football fans, some people like those type of games. I think some of those games are kind of good once in a while. I don't mind them. See some defenses step up. Obviously, Georgia with the best defense all year, in the whole nation pretty much. So ever since the first game that we saw them play against Clemson, we knew that they were going to be a tough team to beat, right? And here they are, obviously lifting the championship trophy. A lot more points were scored in the second half, which made it funner. I think that it was so cool that, Stetson Bennett, a walk-on, quarterback, gets to win it and kind of fulfill his dream. He always wanted to win a championship with the Georgia Bulldogs. He walks on, and I think it was Clay Travis say it, and it is kind of true. Like a lot of these the past champions that win these national championships, and Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, Tua Tagovailoa, whatnot. A lot of these, they're first couple pick quarterbacks, right? And Stetson Bennett not really being one of those, not really being that household name when it comes to quarterbacking in the college football level. But the game and the spread was probably one of the hardest spreads that I had to pick. Going into one of these national championship games, not really having a side, I kind of felt, and I knew I was kind of going to ride with Georgia pretty much the whole time, but it was still kind of having that gut feeling because, like I said, it was just one of those games that if you lose, there's nothing that you're going to do to make you feel any better because you're going to kick yourself in the ass. Because if I would have took Georgia and they would have got smoked by Alabama, what would I have been saying? Oh man, I knew it. Why?
Right.
Why did I play against Nick Saban? How could you not take Alabama as an underdog? How could you not? Or how could you play against Nick Saban as an underdog? And you would just be telling yourself all that. But then again, if you took Alabama and then Georgia won and smoked them like kind of they did yesterday, obviously I wouldn't say completely smoked them, but they obviously beat the spread and whatnot. But if you take Alabama in that situation, then you're sitting here saying, I knew it. Vegas, they knew something. Why would Georgia have been favorites? I knew I shouldn't have took Bama. It was too easy. I mean, free money. Vegas isn't just going to give out free money like that. I just think it was way too easy to take Alabama. I feel that when college football teams play two times in a season, it kind of goes 1-1. It's one of those sports that it's kind of tough to beat a team twice in a season in college football, especially because it hardly ever happens. So I just think that Georgia was going to make a lot of adjustments, and they did. The defense came to play, although it wasn't looking so much like that the first half, but exploded the second half. I went to a little local bar here that, O'Sullivan's shot out. Looked pretty cool, man. I was sending you guys pictures. I haven't been there in a while.
Looked pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think they pretty much kind of did that for the COVID times and whatnot. But man, don't even take it down, COVID or not. I think that's something that they should keep. That little outside area was cool, but I enjoyed it, man. Won some money, kind of up with some house money going into wild card weekend. See if I can, keep compounding those gains. But I don't know, man. One of the games here, like I just mentioned, that I like, the spread keeps going lower. So if we see a 4.5, I don't know, man. It might have to play Cincinnati, which scares me. But I don't like everybody getting on the Raiders now. But what was your experience with the national championship, brother?
I mean, the first thing I always think about is like, oh god, Georgia and Alabama. But it's like, until these other teams make their moves to like overtake them, then it's always going to be like that. You know, the SEC is the powerhouse. The SEC is king of college football, and it's not going to change anytime soon. You know, like USC is probably going to make some noise over the next 5-6 years, but are they actually going to get to that? You know, that potential? Are they actually going to get to that stage? And even Oregon, like Oregon looks so good for 80% of the season, and they have one F up, and then they have, you know, and then if it's not the Pac-12 championship game, it's, you know, for that first round of the playoffs where they sneak in, but then they get their asses kicked. Like Marcus Mariota is not walking through that door, you know, to take him to a national championship game, you know, like.
And the guy, we actually met a guy. We were talking to him at the little bar yesterday, and he stopped by, never been there before.
Oh,
he
really?
actually lives in Tracy, Mike. And I was like, man, what are you doing out here? He's like, oh, I live in Fremont. And I was just, he's like, I work in Fremont. And he's like, I was just looking for a place to watch the game. So we were talking to him, and we were, you know, I mentioned how the season just wasn't really that great this year. You know, there didn't really seem that there was that many competitive teams or highly competitive teams. And he was like, well, yeah, think about it. What does it tell you when Cincinnati was one of the first times there was a bit, not the Power Five, but the Group of Five team in the playoff, right? So I was like, yeah, now that you say it that way, I guess you're kind of right. Even, you know, a Group of Five team finally got in. So, I mean, I like it, but it kind of just goes to show that I don't think there was a lot of hard, tough competition in college football this season. So
I think that once they move it to an 8-team playoff, it's gonna, you know, they're gonna get a lot more viewers. Or you know, I don't know. I think at a certain point, of course, I don't think that players or coaches are going to want to give up. But at a certain time, when you have a loss against a certain team, or you get that second loss, you kind of like put the playoffs out of your mind, correct? Am I right in saying that? Like the season's almost over for a lot of teams once you get that first loss. Or if it's a top team in the Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, SEC, and you get those first two losses, then it's like, well, shit, we have like 3 more games left, but if we win all 3, one, we're not even making it to the conference championship game because the other team's not going to lose. You know what I'm saying? So I think that once they have the 8-team playoff, kind of mentally you're like, oh, shoot, like we had 2 losses, but we can still sneak into the 8. Like 4 was never going to happen, but now 8, I think the quality is going to increase a little bit more than it already is. So.
And it's pretty discouraging if you're like one of these teams, even if you're not one of the bad teams, but if you're like more of a mid-tier team. You know, let's just say, okay, like USC, I'm not going to lie, with Lincoln Riley at the helm now, I think they are going to start getting back to prominence, and I think they are going to start doing pretty good. But it's like, do they get that good to that point where it's to the point where they're good, but it's like, man, you still got that Bama, you still got that Georgia, Clemson come back. It's like, I hate how only having 4 teams that make it kind of takes the wind out of maybe a lot of these like players and team sales, you know, just like knowing that pretty much Alabama is guaranteed every single year to go in, right? You pretty much got Alabama
SEC
and
team.
at least one other SEC team that's pretty much guaranteed. And then you take like a form like an Oklahoma,
State,
LSU,
Penn State,
or like an Ohio State. Pretty much, right? I mean, you got like 7-8 perennial teams, 6 to 8 that are pretty much, you know, if you're not one of those teams and only having a 4-team playoff for, you know, it's kind of like, damn, like you said, you get that one loss. If you have an 8-game playoff or whatnot, 8-team playoff, you know, you might get that one loss, but that season might not be over.
I'm like,
you know,
really afraid of like in a year or two, there's a season to where a lot of the Big 12, Big 10, and Pac-12 teams kind of beat up on each other, and like everyone has like 2 losses, and then we see like 3 teams from the SEC make it into the playoff out of 4. I'm like, at that point, I'm like, I throw my hands up, like, come on, you guys got to do something about this. So I think the 8-team playoff would definitely help that. Shout out, one second. Shout out Twitchco Cowboy. Thank you so much for jumping in on the chat.
Twitchco.
Kind of flip floppy here because the name is Twitchco Cowboy, but he's shouting Niners. So I'm like, oh, you know, Niners Cowboys this weekekend. But thank you so much because he still wants to see the Raiders win the AFC Championship too. So shout out Twitchco Cowboy. Thank you, sir. But go ahead.
Nice.
Continue.
No, I was gonna say, I think this game also probably could have been a little bit different, and if it wasn't for the wide
Oh,
receiver
tough.
that blew his ACL, Jamison Williams, that comes out today, and I kind of knew it, right? It's like he wasn't grimacing in pain, but the way that he
Yep.
just didn't want to move, right? You knew it was kind of bad, and then that other receiver, Menchie, he's out. So I think this game actually could have been a little bit different if they, weren't missing those two top receivers
True.
and whatnot. But nonetheless, Georgia Bulldogs prevail in the national championship game.
1980.
First time since 1980. I believe
Oh
Herschel
yeah.
Walker was a freshman, so I wasn't even
Nope.
born. None of us were. So yeah, long time coming, dogs. They've had a real good team. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, and they had some good teams as of late. What was the other guy? The running back. Uh, he was on the
Todd
Rams.
Gurley. Yeah, Todd Gurley. Yep.
Gurley. They had the Gurley.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've been pretty good, man. But finally
Yep.
get over the
Another
hump. So
game in the book, or
congratulations.
another season, sorry, in the books for college football. So we will see you back in August, September time. So
Guess who's favorite to win
what,
the
Bama now?
2022-2023?
Because they're not going to lose two straight championships games. So
Do you do you
yeah,
do you even have to look? Oh yeah, drop the house on them, especially with this
yeah.
quarterback coming back next year.
Oh
He's a
God.
junior next year, I
Yeah.
think, right?
Okay,
Bryce Young.
so I had to switch off between these two
Yeah.
things on Sunday. You had the Raider game on on one TV, but then I wanted to see what they did for Klay Thompson on the other TV. So I'm like back and forth. I'm like in that point in the house where I can like look at the Raider game while I'm watching out of my left eye, the Klay Thompson tribute. But great to see Klay Thompson back. 2.5 seasons. Or 2.5 years, 2.5 seasons, I'm not sure. Wasn't like over 900 days or something like that since he actually played a game of basketball. But great to see him back. And in classic,
First time he
that's
played
right.
at
So
Chase Center,
I mean,
the new arena.
in classic Klay fashion, I'm not sure if he ended with 17 in 19 point in 17 points in 19
on
minutes.
19.
So good return. The Warriors win. They cover. I think they lost tonight against Memphis, but
They did.
Yeah.
Memphis kind of has their number, man.
so
John
so
Morant,
glad
he's
to,
balling.
so glad to see Klay back. Yeah, one of the heart and souls of the team. Hopefully Draymond's not too hurt either. So we'll see what comes out of that. So I mean,
Yeah, Warriors still sitting, second in the West. Obviously, right behind the Suns. One game today obviously didn't help them. Memphis is sitting, right behind them in fourth. Utah's third, Memphis is fourth on 3.5 games, them and Utah respectively. But man, this Memphis team has kind of been showing some grit, man. Ja Morant, he's really coming into himself, and I think if the Warriors have to see them like in the playoffs or something, I think with the Warriors' playoff experience, I actually think that it bodes well for them, and probably against any other team, really. But man, Memphis really having the Warriors number this season, crazy.
yeah, that's
Chicago still number one in the East. Brooklyn right behind them, 2.5 games. Miami 3 games behind. Bucks, your last year's champions, 3.5. So still pretty tight. I mean, kind of falls off in the West with Dallas 9 games out of first, but in the East you still got all the way up to 7th, 8th. It's only like 6, 5.5, 7 games separate all the top teams. So pretty fun race, a lot of parity, like I said, like we've been saying on this podcast that it was going to be. So what do you think, man? I know you don't watch
I
too
don't,
much
but
NBA.
I mean, I watch a lot of highlights too, and I try to do the whole thing like I always said, put the Warriors game on in the background and kind of do what I'm doing and kind of listen to it. But no, I mean, it seems like it's a lot funner. It's a more fun season so far, like in the NBA. Like I see a lot more highlights. I see a lot more people on Twitter talking about how the quality of basketball is a lot better than they've seen in the last couple years. So I'm excited to see that, and it's always exciting to see the Warriors back. That like that bubble year, how many teams like didn't get to go to Florida? Like 9 or 10 teams, and the Warriors were one of them. I was like, oh crap, there's no reason. Well, I mean, of course there's a reason because it's NBA playoffs, but I mean, the Warriors aren't even in it. They're like only like one of a handful of teams not even getting to get the invite. So now that they're up to to what they are used to being, I'm excited. Definitely will be watching more of the regular season and of course all of the playoffs.
And watching that Cleveland game when Klay came back on Sunday, the Cavaliers actually,
Yeah.
for a team that, obviously won that championship, kind of fell off for a couple years there, but they've been kind of making some good picks. They got that draft pick actually from USC with one of the Mobley brothers
Yeah.
that was real good at USC last year, right? So he's like, and, they still got Kevin Love there. That ain't saying too much, but, at the end of the day, they're sitting sixth, only 5.5 games back. And, they're kind of a interesting team to watch themselves. So we'll see where they, I mean, I'm not expecting much from them, but it's fun to see them be part of that parity that we were talking about in this league.
It's a fun story. My first ever experience with Kevin Love, right? He went to UCLA, right? And then who was the counter? No. But who was the young stud coming in to USC at that same time? Was it Kyrie? No. Who? No.
Kyrie went to Duke.
No. I understand.
He didn't even play.
There was somebody else. I forgot. Like when Kevin Love was coming to UCLA, someone else was coming to USC. I didn't really know who he was because I think they were freshmen. But at the time, throwback, showing your age, I was subscribed to Sports Illustrated. Like who the hell subscribed to Sports Illustrated like anymore?
Oh my! You just wanted the
right?
swimsuit
Subscribe
issue.
to these. Yeah, I know. Oh, I'm sorry, babe. No, I swear. I get all the other issues. But there was one issue where it was like Kevin Love and this kid from USC, like back to back, like, and it's like, oh, and it was like a, college basketball season preview. And this was one of the, 5 or 6, and this was the Pac-12 version because they knew where I lived, so they figured I would want the Pac-12 cover, and this is who it was, Kevin Love and somebody else. So if we can find that, over the course of this episode, then, it's OJ Mayo. That's who it was.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
Yeah. Dude, that's funny. I'm looking at it right now, the exact cover that you had. It's you can type it in, Kevin Love, UCLA, USC, and it's him with OJ Mayo on the cover.
Unfortunately, I don't have those covers, so I hope to God that in 40 years that cover or any of the ones I actually owned aren't worth a lot. But yeah, but this is a funny story. So now going into the NFL Week 18, oh man, I mean, first of all, let's talk about the Super Contest. So we've had a Super Contest. I think we had the idea in Week 1, but we didn't really initiate it until Week 2. So between Week 2 and Week 18, so technically a full 17-week NFL schedule, myself, Mark, and Sean, we picked 4 games a week against the spread, and all 4 of us finished at least 50% or higher. Unfortunately, I went 1-3 because the Rams... I mean, sorry, Twitchco Cowboy and your 49ers, man, but I was so confident in that win, and then they just had that second half, and then, of course, overtime. But I was that one, loss away from hoisting the championship. But, Mark, you went, I think, 3-1. Sean went 2-2, and both of you guys tied at just over 50%, and I tied at exactly 50%. But for the down times that we all 3 of us had, especially me, when I was like 13, 14 games under 500, I was like so far behind you guys, and then to make it actually exciting the last like 3 or 4 weeks, that was fun. I can't wait to do that every year. Fun. I mean, excruciatingly annoying sometimes, and I think I would have won the contest, not comfortably, but maybe by 2 or 3 games if I didn't automatically go against the Raiders every week. Maybe if I went with them more, or if I just said, hey, let's not automatically waste a pick on this. Let's look at something else. I think I probably would have won. I'm going to guess I would have won.
Yeah. When it comes down to these yearly contests, they can be so tight, and it really comes down sometimes to just you just have to avoid the 0-4, the 1-3 weeks. It's just you have a couple of those and they're just killer. Because like you said, you were down in the beginning. I felt like I was running away with it, and there it is. I think I had 3 weeks where I had an 0-4, 2 1-3s, and it's just, man, it's hard to recover once out of a span of 12 games you go 2-2, 2-10.
Yeah, 2-10, and then on the flip side, I had a 5-week span where I went 4-0, 3-1, 4-0, 4-0, and 2-2. I had 3 losses in a 5-week span. So that's what did it. That's what gave me the opportunity to put myself in a position to win this thing, but did not prevail. Sean, that's what it was too. Sean would have been in last place. Like it would have been you by yourself, me, then Sean. But of course, Buffalo with the backdoor cover, 16.5 points. They win by 17, bro. They were only up by about 3 or 6 at one point in the fourth quarter. 2 quick scores. Oh my God, I was so pissed. I was like, no. He loses the New England game. He wins the Washington game, I believe. I did win Tampa Bay. That was kind of scary at one point. At one point, they were within 7. It was an 8-point spread, but then they were within 7, and then they just had 2 or 3 quick scores. I lost, of course, the Raiders, because I picked them against them, but the Raiders win. Rams, and what was my other one that I had lost? Oh, the Chiefs. Ugh. The Chiefs on Saturday. Freaking assholes. So, of course, look at that. Teams or players you hate will never help you. And that goes for fantasy and now betting. Teams I hate will never help me. Chargers, 49ers, Tom Brady, and the Chiefs. All the teams that I've classically over the years have hated in sports. Now not so much. I don't really care as much anymore about the hatred.
That's why you just learn not to hate them, and you just learn to kind of embrace them. I mean, look at me in my Minnesota year that I had.
And you won that game.
I could have easily. Yeah, I did. They won it for me in the last week too. That actually helped me tie with Sean for the win. But I could easily just hate them and be mad at them. But I learned how to embrace them, Mike. Embrace that. I mean, it wouldn't be so. The sunshine wouldn't be so. Oh, what does 50 Cent say? The sunshine wouldn't be so nice if it wasn't for rain.
And it was cool too because it came down to it too. All the scenarios that I was texting you guys, and when it came down to the final game of the season, Raiders and Chargers, where I'm like, okay, do I root for the Raiders to win and make the playoffs, or do I not really root for, but not be as mad because if the Chargers win and cover, then I win the Super Contest? But at that point, when it came down to it, I had already gone 1-2. I was like, man, go ahead, Mark. Win that thing. I hope the Raiders win that. And sure enough, they did. So you and Sean tie for first place. Congratulations. Stakes are on me.
You just didn't root for my half point though. For the Chargers to get that half point, dude. That was so funny, dude.
Don't even
I had a teaser going, guys. I needed the over 43.5 points. I had the Raiders +9. I had the Warriors in that game, the Klay day on a teaser, and then I just had the over, and it was at 43. I needed a half point. I'm like, dude, if I lose this teaser because of a half point, and it was 4.5 minutes, and that's when Herbert was driving, and I was like, just give me points. I was like, yeah, you're like, F your points. It's on you. But if they lose,
of course you were in the...
It's hilarious. Because everything panned out exactly how you said it was going to happen.
We've been Raider fans since...
They were going to score. They got the 2-point conversion. They got the ball back. They scored to make it to go to overtime. It's exactly how you said it. And I just kept saying, I just kept sinking in my sofa, though. I'm like, dude, this can't be happening. You got to be joking me. But at the same time, I'm trying to stay positive. Believe in Bisaccia. But, dude, what a wild game. Wild turn of events. Same thing in the Niner game,
let's
dude.
give this context for Raider fans out there. So how would you feel? Please comment in this episode or, hit us up on social media. So Mark needs a half a point, right? And the Raiders are up at this point 15 points. I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need them to score any points. They're obviously not going to go for a field goal because they only need a touchdown, 2 touchdowns with 1 2-point conversion, right? And they got plenty of time. They got the timeouts. They know the Raiders are going to run the ball. They call 3 straight timeouts, and that literally takes 25 seconds, even with the punt and a fair catch. So I'm like, no. And what play happened, it was they called it an incomplete pass, but then they reviewed it, and then it or something. I forgot what it was, but that was the tipping point for me where you said, yes, you cheered against your team because it gave life to the Chargers to get the points.
I cheered to get a half point.
And then sure enough, me and my brother in the text thread were just like, no, they're going to score a touchdown. They're going to get the 2-point conversion. Then the Raiders are going to run 3 straight plays, 3 straight timeouts. They're going to get the ball back, score again because the defense is too tired. And sure enough, that's what happened. And the only thing that didn't go as what I said it would is I thought that I'm like, of course, being a Raider fan, this is how it happens. It's a different sitcom, but it's the same sitcom, just a different episode. I thought that the Chargers were going to win the toss, But sure enough, the Raiders did. They get the points. They hold LA to a field goal. They go back and get the field goal. And what about that? The timeout. What about the timeout? Like who? Like, come on now. There's those conspiracy theorists where it was Vegas or someone saying you're not gonna you're not going to have this tie. And at first I was like, oh, was it conspiracy theory because they wanted Big Ben in the playoffs? I was like, no, dude, this had everything to do with money if that's the case. But
they kept showing the fan in the stands wearing the Steeler gear. That was great. Man, that was great.
They totally screwed themselves out of the win. The 49ers with huge balls, a huge sack of balls, and come all the way back from down 17-0. They scrounge 3 points at the end of the half, and then they just go on a tear in the second half, giving up, I believe. Dude,
how good is Debo, man?
I'm sorry, that team is not a playoff team without Debo Samuel. He's fast. He can be a freaking running back, and the ability to break tackles and to get in open space and the YAC, the yards after catch. That guy's unstoppable. He's a beast.
Well, I heard something. I wish I remember that stat. Well, actually, no. I take that back. It was actually it was on Jacobs. On his stat, I think most of his yards were after contact or something. I mean, he was a pretty big beast too in that game. Chargers obviously not too good at stopping the run, but dude, the Niners came back, not even without Kittle having a real big game. But I love watching Bosa and Crosby both play.
Someone tweeted something about Bosa. Did you send us that tweet or someone? I saw a tweet the next day about Bosa. If you hit him in the mouth, he's gonna crumble. Like if there's a couple plays where you stop him, he doesn't get to the quarterback or whatever, he's going to crumble and he's not going to play as well. But sure enough, Max Crosby on the other side just plays unbelievable football. Like he was in Herbert's face so many times, So it's gonna be a fun playoff. So let's get to the playoffs.
I want to hear
congratulations.
I want to hear your thoughts real quick though on the Colts and the Jags, man. Yeah. How crazy is that, dude?
Not only do they screw themselves and they lose against a 2-14 team, and then they also give the Philadelphia Eagles a first-round pick because Carson Wentz passed the threshold of pass attempts or passing yards or whatever the condition was, and now they give Philadelphia a first-round pick. It's like, oh my! And Philadelphia is in the playoffs. And they didn't have to really play anybody in Week 18 because they had solidified their spot. So now they have a fresh-ass roster coming into the week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, unfortunately they have to play the GOAT.
But as far as covering's concerned...
Okay, so get into the games here, Mike.
If you're watching here on YouTube and Twitch, you see the picture of the whole breakdown of the games. I do know that, of course, in traditional classic Raiders fashion, they have the last game of the season Sunday night, and what do? They give them the first game on Saturday morning. So Saturday at 1:30 Pacific Standard Time, the Raiders visit the Cincinnati Bengals. And now, the only reason I know this is because it's our two teams. I know that the Niners play at 1:30 the next day in Dallas, but the other matchups, I don't know the days and times. New England, in a divisional game, faces the Buffalo Bills. The Cardinals, in another divisional game, visit LA to face the Rams. Like we mentioned before, Eagles are in Tampa Bay to face the Buccaneers. And the Steelers sneak in to the playoffs, and they go to Kansas City and Arrowhead Stadium. So, I guess we could talk Raiders and Bengals first. They're not going to win, obviously, if they played how they played against them the first go-around. And that was and that was honestly a decent first half for the Raiders. They kept it close. It was like they were either winning or tied or within 3, and then they just freaking sucked in the second half at home too. So I'm actually glad that they're on the road. I think the Raiders played, better on the road this year. So I mean, we'll see. There's as far as a call to make. Maybe they can cover, maybe they can keep it close. I don't know. But what you were saying, but to tell the fans what you were saying about Joe Burrow and your kind of thoughts on him and being a rookie.
Yeah, the way he I love that kid. The way he keeps himself composed. We saw it at LSU, And like I always say, they did a great job by drafting his security blanket and Jamar Chase to go along with him. I think that helps his confidence out a lot. They obviously got that other receiver, T. Higgins, that came out of Clemson, that is damn good also, Mixon. And that's the thing that you mentioned. They get the last game on Sunday night, and then they have to play the first game on Saturday. All the while, the Cincinnati Bengals sat Burrow, Mixon didn't play. Obviously they lost against Cleveland in Week 18, but, I don't think that they really – I don't think that they cared as much. I think that they cared more about being healthy, but the coach Zach Taylor doing a good job over there, obviously with after all those years. What was that tweet that I sent you that no one has ever sent a text message about?
No one has ever sent a text message about a Cincinnati Bengals playoff win. The first ever text message was sent in 1992, and the last time the Bengals won a playoff game was in 1991. That's true. That's true.
Crazy,
but,
right?
It's funny. I also saw a tweet or like a GIF or whatever. It was like, Joe Burrow is who the Browns thought Baker Mayfield was going to be. Just composure and just playing ability and just.
And he had that ACL too. We forget that he had an ACL, right?
And look at him bounce back.
And he stays composed. He stays composed. He doesn't turn into check down Charlie like some of the other guys that's going to be playing on the other side of that, field with him.
The Raiders have
Saturday.
A chance if they can get to Burrow, obviously. The Max Crosby needs to play the game of his life.
Gassed. I think they said that they had 80 something plus defensive snaps that the unit took or whatever, but they're going to be kind of tired, especially with that shorter turnaround time. Obviously, we see the line moving in their favor. Obviously, it's gone down from 6.5 to 5.5 from what I'm seeing. So pretty much a point and a half move, depending what book you're looking at. But I kind of like the Raiders here. Probably have to stay, keep an eye out on the weather. Heard about snow the day before and whatnot. So. There's a lot of variables in this game, to tell you the truth, man. This game's pretty tough as well. We could be
looking at snow in a bunch of places. Cincinnati, Buffalo, Kansas City,
Buffalo.
Tampa. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we're not going to be having snow, though, for sure.
The whole NFC is not going to experience anything because they have 2 indoor places and then down in Florida. So, if I were to make my picks solely based on just money line in the AFC, just money line. Sorry, Raiders. Gonna go against you again. Gonna go the Bengals.
Jesus. But I'm the guy. But I need a half a point. You guys listening? But I need a half a point to win me some money on a teaser. But this guy goes again. I'm the
realist fan, but I still want to root for them. Like I told you before the game, I said go and win that super contest. Before the game started, I wanted no part of winning that game and having the Chargers cover to win me some super contest to get a free steak. I gave it to you.
To win you a steak.
Enough, that happened.
Not even a filet mignon is worth it when it comes to the fandom and the greatness.
I have to go with Buffalo because they're still my pick to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC. So I'm sticking with Buffalo to win at home against the Patriots. And come on, Kansas City for sure. That's going to be what a horrible game to have to watch.
Does it?
Old ass Big Ben throwing 3 yards 40 times this weekend. Come on, I'm going all 3 home teams this weekend in the AFC.
Dude.
What about you?
Why do I kind of like
maybe,
Pittsburgh, man?
Because they have experience. They have experience.
Cover
Tomlin and Big Ben.
Sure. But I think they're going to cover for sure, to tell you the truth. I kind of do like that. Plus 13, that's a lot of points in a playoff game. They pounded them last time, and it's kind of hard to pound a team twice. Kansas City obviously has been playing a lot better. I still think that the Steelers have a decent defense. Not great, like not the curtain, but at plus 475, that's almost 5-1. The biggest dog. I'm not saying they're gonna do it, but Big Ben's last year, everyone's gonna be counting him out. Already got pounded, once by this team already. There's just a lot of things pointing to why not just nibble on the money line a little bit at 5-1.
You sent me that little, the odds, of Raiders money line. What was it Steelers, and then what was the other one? The Niners.
Oh yeah.
Raiders money line,
Niners
and then
money
Steelers
line,
money line.
Raiders
If you
money
put that into a
line,
parlay and you throw like
Steelers money
$10,
line.
of course you're going to win some money. Like hell yeah.
1,000 to win
God.
like 40,000.
So Sean is taking the same three teams as me, the home teams, Bengals, Bills, and Chiefs for the AFC. Sean's actually only taking one road team to win this weekend. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah,
surprise. Sean's taking his hometown San Francisco 49ers, who played an equally crazy game against the LA Rams, but they're visiting Dallas. Let's see. It's kind of weird. It's like the first half of the season was like a lock, and now the second half of the season, I don't know what kind of Arizona Cardinals team I'm getting. The Rams kind of play like that too. I don't even know. I mean, if the Rams play like they did in the first half against the 49ers, but then they just kind of keep the boot on the neck, and just hold them down, the Rams can easily beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals are right there in Arizona, though, so there's probably plenty of Cardinals fans going to be there. Like LA is. Sorry, the LA is like that stadium is like the whorehouse of the league. Like everyone just comes when whoever's playing. Oh, they're all coming over there.
That's actually a real tough game to kind of choose, because in my opinion, you're looking at both these teams, division rivals. They know each other. The third time they're going to play. I don't even know the stats of the first two times they played. If I don't know, do you know if they went 1-1 or whatnot?
I can check for you, but go ahead and continue. I'll check for you.
Yeah, go ahead and check. If they went 1-1, obviously this is going to be the rubber game and whatnot. But what I'm seeing here is you got two teams that were obviously real hot. The Rams, kind of one of the favorites in the NFC to go and kind of replicate what Tampa Bay did last year and being able to play the Super Bowl in their own home. And they were saying that was going to kind of, have them play with a chip on their shoulder all season.
One against each other. They both beat each other by Cardinals killed them by 17 the first week. Not the first week, but week 4. And then closer to the end of the season, the Rams beat them by a touchdown. Yes. And both of those were road wins, by the way. Both times the home team lost in both those games.
So what I'm looking at is, beginning of the season, Arizona's been kind of falling off a little bit, so have the Rams kind of. I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying. This is like a real tough game. It basically comes down, in my opinion, what Arizona Cardinals team shows up. I kind of have an idea, a feeling of what the Rams are going to get, especially losing that 17-point lead, and obviously they with the Cardinals losing to the Seahawks, they knew they were going to win the division anyway, whether win or lose to the Niners. So I don't know if that really mattered, but
I think this is.
It's just what Arizona team is going to show up. That's what it comes down to.
This is a harder conference for me to pick because I think the Buccaneers on money line is kind of the easiest pick for me. But man, are we going to get the Cowboys this year? Are we going to get the Cowboys who went 6-0 and against the division, and then went 6-5 against everyone else? Because I don't trust that team. I don't trust that team at all. Undefeated, and then you had the same amount of wins against everybody else. You went barely over 500 against everybody else. And guess what? The 49ers, that's everybody else. That's another team. You have no other team. After this weekend, sorry, you have no more NFC East opponents. The Eagles are probably going to be out. So I don't know what. Is this you're always wondering when is the year that the Cowboys are going to get that off their shoulder to where they can go and beat the hell out of their division, and then come to the playoff time, they choke it all away, even at home. So who knows? I mean, Jerry World's going to be rocking. I remember a couple years ago, the Niners went into Jerry's World and beat the Cowboys during the regular season, and there were so many Niner fans during that broadcast that I was seeing, so who knows what kind of presence that the 49er fan base is going to make in Dallas, but that's another tough game too. The NFC is way tougher to me to pick than the AFC this week.
Yeah, there's one thing about that I do kind of like about that game, and I know that we live in the Bay Area, but to tell you the truth, I haven't heard one person say they like the Cowboys, bro. I haven't heard one person say that they like the Cowboys. And when you start hearing everybody saying this, when I would say maybe week 2, 3, 4, I mean, the Cowboys they were them boys, bro, right? I mean, in the first couple of weeks, they looked like they were the team to beat. They were playing pretty damn good ball, and now everyone has recency bias. We all love to bet on what we last saw, and what we last saw was the Niners hella raw coming back after 17 points. Dallas kind of just playing, going through the motions. And, don't be surprised if Dallas, shows up. Jimmy G has, a subpar game. And I know Niner fans might not want to hear this, but there's something here that is kind of making me somewhat like Dallas. I might kick myself in the butt for taking them if I do, but
Dak had a great game last week too. So I know it's against division teams and stuff. I know that, but they also had an extra day to rest, if I'm correct. Or didn't they play Saturday? So.
Mm-hmm. Well, if anything about this game, what I do like is that it's an old school rivalry game.
But this is the first time that they played in the playoffs since the NFC Championship game when the Niners went to the Super Bowl against the Chargers. They haven't played in the playoffs since then. So that's more like that for our generation. It's not a rivalry. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe during the that's our mom and dad's rivalry is the Cowboys and the 49ers. In 1995, I'm 8 years old. I'm barely starting to watch the NFL. I start to watch the NFL right after the Niners win the Super Bowl.
But even after, with Terrell Owens dancing on the star or whatever,
I think that stems. From the rivalry, from the the 70s and 80s. So.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I was definitely not alive to watch those, but. I mean, I remember the rivalry with the Aikman, the Young, the Owens, the Irvins, the
Cowboys.
Smiths. That was
the
a
Cowboys
rivalry
are the Raiders and Steelers. Like my dad always said, in the Raiders and the Steelers played in the AFC Championship game 5 or 6 times in the 70s. Raiders lost all but one. Same with the 49ers and the Cowboys. If it wasn't for the Cowboys, the Niners would have 9 or 10 rings. But they already have 5. So. And then my dad says that the Raiders would have 5 or 6 rings if it wasn't for the Steelers. In the 70s, it just kind of that's how the cookie crumbles. You know what I'm saying?
So the Steelers have now 6.
Have 6, yeah. After the one that Big Ben won against. Oh no, they won 2, right? They won 2.
And New England has 6, right?
And then the Steelers and the Niners have had 5 for. Now since the mid 90s, but yeah, so
Steelers have got 6.
Steelers have 6. Terry Bradshaw on them in the 70s won 4, and then Big Ben won 2 against the NFC West in Seattle and Arizona. Okay, I'm gonna make my picks now. I'm going to go a little bit different than Sean. I'm going to go Buccaneers. I think we're all going to maybe take at least Buccaneers money line, but I'm going to roll with you, man. Not because, I'm classically I'm a 49er hater, but I'm going to go with Dallas as well. I'm going to have Dallas finally get off the schneid and get that stigma off their shoulder that they can't do it in the big game. Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott take the momentum offensively into the playoffs. It's a home game too, so yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do the Cardinals. I'm going to do the road team for the 3rd time this season, winning the game. I'll take Kyler Murray, the should-be Oakland Athletic, and take them against the LA Rams.
Jeez. Nice. And I saw actually that the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, what's his name? The younger kid. I think that he was in the candidate position for the Raider job, head coach. Kellen Moore or whatever his name is.
Kellen Moore. Wasn't he the former quarterback?
I mean, yeah, exactly. So we'll see, man. I like Bisaccia. I don't think Harbaugh will come, but I see here, man, the Raiders. They had the most walk-off wins in NFL history. I know it's a 17-game season. You get that one extra game, which obviously they walked it off on that one extra game. But that's pretty crazy that as much as we bag on Carr, he's been able to come back to provide the team that lost their head coach
We
and two of their star
like we
players.
say a lot of things about him, check down Charlie, and he's never been the same ever since he broke his leg, and then the very next year he broke a part of his back. But man, speaking of his back, he puts that team on his back sometimes. He makes some amazing throws sometimes. 2 weeks ago in Indianapolis when he made the throw to Hunter Renfrow, and then last week when he made it, remember Chris Collinsworth was like, there's literally nowhere else you could have thrown it. The coverage was perfect, and he still threaded it in there. So, I mean, how he does in the playoffs, he's had playoff experience. Oh, no, he doesn't. He actually doesn't have any playoff
exactly.
experience.
I was just going to say that.
He doesn't. This could be. I don't know. It's him and Burrow. Right? Burrow's first time in the playoffs, first time QBs. Anything can happen, but the defense needs to come to play. They need to hit Burrow in the mouth. Well, don't get any 15-yard penalties, but they need to put him on his ass. And don't let Jamar Chase in the receiving corps. Don't let him kill you. Don't let him kill you. Get him off the field soon, because if it's going to be anything like the Chargers game, then you're in for a world of hurt. So,
if Crosby plays anything like he did that night, man, it might be ugly.
You're right. You said it the other day. You
good.
texted us, man. What a great pick. 3rd round pick. He's looking like a top 10, 12 pick. So amazing so far. So, did you make your final picks for the NFC before we get to our break? Just go money line. If you want to shoot something spreads out when it gets closer to the weekend, we'll tweet something out or put out a video.
I'll go with the Rams. Actually, I'll go with the Rams. I'll go with the Cowboys. I'll take Tampa. Obviously, I'll take Pittsburgh, baby. Money line. Let's do it. Pittsburgh money line, baby. Raiders. There we go. And man, Bills, New England. That's a tough one too, bro. That's a tough one too. It's like the Saban. We're gonna go against the Belichick. I don't know. It's hard to go with that rookie though. I guess at least Allen's got a little bit of playoff experience, so I'd probably have to go with the Bills on that one. Don't love it, but
gun to your head. What do you do? All right, cool. So that's been the TCB breakdown of the wild card weekend for the 2021. Yeah, well, technically 2021 NFL season playoffs. There you have it. That's the end of the sports. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the comic book side of the podcast. So stay tuned, folks. Thank you so much for joining the Comic Bookies podcast, episode 139. Be back in a sec.
Be back.
Okay, back live on YouTube and Twitch. What's up, guys? Thank you so much, Twitch Co Cowboy, and everyone who's been tuning in so far to the show. Mark, you ready to go, bud?
Yeah, cool. I mean, did you watch that NASCAR, man? How they've been testing at Daytona this week?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. was going to test out Larson's car, so no, I didn't see that though.
They ran in packs. They did like drafting and whatnot. So it's getting close, man. Racing season is around the corner.
Because I had every intention of wearing this shirt to like say it was gonna be like one of those like, wake me up when NASCAR starts, but then the Raiders go and win, and and they extend the NFL season for me. So actually, where the hell's my water? I just brought it in here. Give me 1 second. We can start. I did. Did you get any news on the comic book side?
I got
cool.
got one, yeah.
Right on. So, all right. I think we're almost good to go here. Got it. Okay, cool. All right, Mark. Fans, let's go back live in 5, 4.
Can I go pee? I won't flush.
All right, let's go back in 5, 4. And welcome back, everyone, to the Comic Bookies podcast. Episode 139 is back. Thank you so much so far for those of you who are watching on our YouTube and Twitch channels. And, of course, all of you listeners out there in podcast land, thank you so much for tuning in and supporting us for almost 140 episodes. It's pretty crazy to think about. We're almost hitting our 2-year anniversary of doing this damn thing. I'm going to go ahead and give out our emails.
2.
What's that, Mark?
Don't cut us short. 2 years?
It's 3. Oh, it's 3. Oh, my God. Oops. Sorry, that's 3 years.
Don't cut us short.
My bad.
Don't cut us
that's
short.
That's right. Hey, you know what 2020 did to us?
That's how I always remember that.
We got blipped.
It's 3 years
because a whole year
I know we
celebration.
didn't start in 2020.
We got blipped like in Avengers.
Exactly.
Infinity War.
I knew we wouldn't have even started this if 2020 if we didn't start think about it. If we didn't start this in 2019, we probably would have never started it because we damn sure wouldn't have started this damn thing in 2020.
No, it's definitely true. Like, we were like there with each other, practicing once a week. And then finally you got your mic and then Sean got his mic and we finally went remote, and everything. But man, here we are, dude. Since day one, we've had Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Comic Bookies. Email us, thecomicbookies@gmail.com. Again, we're brought to you by Treasure Island Comics in Fremont, California. So go and check out Alex and the shop every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday for all your comic booking needs. Mark, let's get into the books for tomorrow. I am all caught up. I did hear that there are some delays, so I hope that I don't fall back behind in my books again. But man, I was able to read some of the books from last week, so I'm really excited to get into those. But this week, tomorrow, over on the DC side, Detective Comics 1048. Man, that book's really cool. We're going to be saying this word, Detective Comics, for 10 more weeks straight. The Joker, number 11, Robin and Batman, number 3, Batman Urban Legends, number 2, and Batgirls, number 2. Over on the Marvel side, you have Amazing Spider-Man 85, Marauders 27, Dark Ages 4, The Fantastic Four number 39, and Star Wars number 20. Image Comics gives us a few: Department of Truth number 15, Undiscovered Country 18, Stillwater number 12, What's the Furthest Place from Here number 3, and The Scorched number 1. That's a new story. AWA gives us 2 offerings this week: Knighted number 3 and Hotel number 2. And we have from 3 publishers we don't really talk about, but I saw a bunch of number 1s. I think I'm getting this. Vault Comics comes We Ride Titans number 1. I think I'm actually grabbing that one. And then from Scout Comics we have Distorted number 1, and from Behemoth Comics, Quad number 1. So, sir, let's get into some of these books. We are not 2 weeks behind. We are just last week's books. What are you excited for this week? What do you want to talk about from last week? What's up, dude? Let's start the comic book talk. Let's do it. I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Sorry about this also. Okay, and I'm back. No, the one thing I do want to talk about, Mike, is I love the Undiscovered Country cover that we get this week with the it's a badass cover. And yeah, I'm excited that we're finally getting Undiscovered Country again, but are you kind of like getting on the same page with me with this book? It's just I feel like the consistency of it is just like it's like, let's just put it this way. I don't get like excited for it no more like I used to. Like this was like one of our books like we all 3 of us read together, Scott Snyder going to like a, Image, whoop-de-whoop, getting away from the DC realm or whatnot. But, it's just with the whole hiatus they had I just feel like the books come out so inconsistently. The story's still good. They're still going through all the lands, all the little, the lands, and, they're still walking the
spiral,
the circle or whatever the hell is spiral. And, it's still good, but it's just, I just wish it was more consistent. Like, tell me you feel like you haven't gotten an Undiscovered Country for like 2 months almost.
It's definitely felt that way. And last week, actually, I didn't read it, so I can't really give you a review of it. But the Noctera, remember the story, the other story from Scott Snyder that I said that it's actually becoming better than Undiscovered Country. But Noctera released a Blacktop Bill special. That's like the guy who's like hunting them down. But I was so excited to get that one last week, and this week I see Undiscovered Country, and I'm like, all right, cool, But like Department of Truth, Noctera, even sometimes Geiger, I get more excited right now than Stillwater. Sometimes I get more excited than Undiscovered Country, but I'm gonna ride with it. They said it's like a 2-3 year plan, so hopefully it develops into a better story. But it's still going strong. Like it hasn't fallen off completely like Scumbags seem to have done, but
Oh, Scumbags! I'm done. Yeah. I already took it off the pull.
Not yet.
I don't know if you have.
I kind of wanted to finish another issue or 2, maybe give it another chance. But yeah, but Undiscovered Country, still going to roll with it. It's 18 issues, so I mean that's a year and a half now. So give it another 18 issues to finish the story if that's what the plan is, a 3-year deal. So yeah, I mean that's good. But speaking of cover,
why did you say Geiger?
You dropped it like after like the first issue or 2.
But Geiger's not out right now.
Jeff Johns, huh?
But it's not out right now.
No, I know.
It's not out right now.
February, there's like
so you said I look more because you were talking about books that you look more forward to right now, and then you said Stillwater and Geiger, and I'm like, wait, is there a new Geiger coming out?
I did see that there's an 80-page Geiger special coming out in February. But yeah, I mean, and then I think after this Noctera the one-hit wonder of the special, later this month, Noctera is actually back with issue number 7, so I'm super excited about that. But speaking of covers, dude,
me and you were me and you are kind of on the opposite sides of that Geiger
good.
book, but I know exactly what you're gonna say. That damn cover for Detective, go for it,
that's
bro.
badass too.
So
that
sick.
Detective cover looks really cool. It looks like a legit like a photograph.
Variant.
Exactly.
Like it's a variant.
Of course, I'm getting nothing from Marvel. I think this week I just dumped Moon Knight, and so Moon Knight becomes another fatality with Thor, and other ones. I think sometime later.
More you giving up? You can't give up 2 Marvels in one day. Did
Thor
you?
Thor was like in November. But I gave up Moon Knight this past week, so I will not be jumping into number 7. But I am excited about Fantastic Four Life Story. The 6th and final issue of that miniseries comes out later this month. I did add that like 5 or 6 issue Gwen Stacy one, like the Gwen verse or whatever, where it's like she plays, what happens if Gwen Stacy was Thor? What if she was Iron Man? What if she was Black Panther? What if she was Captain Marvel? So I'm actually looking forward to that one, though. So I think I might ride with these mini-series from Marvel for a while, because that's all I seem to be gravitating towards when I see these previews. You know what I'm saying? So other than that, I do get Knighted. I think Knighted, they're going, this guy, the Knight, he is the AWA. He's the AWA version of Batman and Moon Knight. Just like just regular human being, but he's a vigilante fighting crime for a good cause, and the story actually starts with the actual guy who is the Knight. He ends up getting accidentally murdered, so it's like another guy that we meet named Bob or whatever. He's just taking up the mantle of this. So, but the guy's got the guy, huh?
You're
because the guy had money, had Butler, so it was like, oh, this is like AWA's Bruce Wayne, and so so this guy's taking up the mantle, and it's like issue 3 comes out tomorrow, so kind of excited about that one. Other than that, of course, Detective and the Joker are probably, and then Department of Truth. That's what I'm excited for this week, man.
Yeah, really, the Joker for sure. If it was anything like last time, that cover looks pretty decent. I'm sure for you, Department of Truth for sure. Mike, you're not getting this book, the I Am Knighted, the Batman, or not? Sorry, I Am Knighted.
No, there's a lot of
Batman.
There's actually been a lot of new, like every previews we get from DC, there's a new Batman story. I think I just pulled one last month, or I looked ahead to this month's, and it was, remember I showed you screenshots, and it was like, come on, like DC, like I've been doing so good on previews, and just DC, there's like 4 new stories. I'm like, oh, dude. Of course, the White Knight, there's another story coming out, in the White Knight universe, and then Tom Taylor's got a new I think Batman story coming out. So I'm like, oh, dude, you need to look at the most recent previews of DC. They got some fire coming out. But, I mean, other than that,
Who's it going to be? The White Knight. The White Knight? Who's that story going to be around? Do you know? Or is it going to be, because they had the Harley Quinn.
Yeah, they had
the other one.
The first one was more about the Joker. The second one was about Azrael and the history of their families in Gotham. And then the third story was Harley Quinn. So this one, crap, I forget. I'd have to look back at it and let you know. But that's in this.
Look back
but yeah,
at it.
I mean, so let's get into the stories of the week. But like before we get into the actual detailed reviews of some of these books, I did finish. I did get a few books that came out 2 weeks ago that he didn't have yet when I came and visited the shop. So Unborn from Frank Gogol, friend of the show, his 4th and final issue of that story, that was pretty cool. It was like a it was kind of like his version of like Alien. Definitely had an Alien vibe to it, and he definitely left it open for more. And then finally an AWA upshot. This issue, Fight Girls 5 of 5, came out November 24th, and he finally got it in. So there must have been some shipping delays with that book. So I finally finished Fight Girls from Frank Cho. That one was actually pretty good. It was kind of weird and crazy, like as if I was watching an episode of Doom Patrol on HBO Max, but it was cool. It was actually a cool little 5-issue story, and that's it for as far as just little quick reviews that I have.
Yeah. Couple books, like if you want me to mention the ones that I tweeted out about, it was this one. It was Blood on Sunset by Source Point Press. The writer was Mark Deanna, art by Arjuna Susini. Pretty good book. You know how obviously the Source Point Press, there's a lot of like horror surrounding that publisher, and a lot of like this has some vampirism type of stuff to it, but pretty much kind of little synopsis. Former LAPD officer Clint Braddock. He gets called pretty much. He's hanging out at a bar, gets called by like this, I don't know, I think she's like a high profile like type of escort out in like Hollywood back in those days, And there's like she calls about a high profile celebrity that I'm not going to mention it because I want you guys to pick it up. But it's a pretty well-known name from back in the day, and he's ended up murdered. This guy, the main character shows up. She's got blood on her, she's trying to talk to him and whatnot. So anyway, it pretty much goes in like to a whirlwind about he finds a weapon, and the weapon reminds him of like an Italian. It was like an Italian blade, I believe, like knife, sword type thing that has some like ties to him. And basically he finding out that this murder isn't just about, the A-lister celebrity that they got, that he's kind of caught in the crosshairs with everything that's going on. And, it's a pretty cool little story, man. I enjoyed it. Fun read, easy read. Yeah, it's kind of, if you like zombie type stuff, although you don't even really, I mean, obviously in the front cover, you obviously see a little bit of, zombie-ish type things, but through the whole book, you don't really even get it till like the end, but it's pretty cool. I'm going to probably pull it. It's probably like a mini series, I'd guess. So I'm looking forward to it. Mark Deanna and Susini on the art. Blood on Sunset, guys. Pretty
Nice.
fun. So the other one that I got that I actually tweeted out about, or actually let me hit a Marvel real quick. The Captain America and Iron Man, the one that was kind of like a sequel to the Captain America, the United States of Captain America that I just finished reading. This one was pretty cool. Pretty much. I don't know. I don't even know too much about like any of these characters that are kind of I don't know if they're not really like bad guys, but they're not really working together with Rogers and Tony Stark. But they're basically chasing Veronica Eden and this guy named 51 that are trying to get a hold of this like robot because he's trying to do something to the city of Minneapolis. And this robot pretty much Myrmidon, weird name, Myrmidon or Myron is the name of the robot. Pretty much, he's Overseer. There's a computer called Overseer that's pretty much has special powers that this guy 51 and Veronica Eden are trying to come up on. And they capture her at the end. But 51 gets hold of the robot, and it basically, it ends with them having I don't know if they're going to team up with this chick, Veronica, or there's like this other group called the Paladins, which include Pioneer, Vox, I kind of like this name, Prima Donna, and Think Tank. They're, I don't know if you're familiar with any of those characters, Mike. Neither am I. I don't know anything about them, but fun little read. I think it's only like 2 more issues. Just something for me to keep Marvel going a little bit. Obviously, like I said, I don't know too much about any of the other characters. I know Stark and, obviously Iron Man and whatever, like Captain America and some other like collaborations or not collaborations. What's the word I'm looking for? Appearances, right? That you might have. But it's just getting me more accustomed to some Marvel stuff, but it's pretty good. Cool little read. I kind of might have liked Captain America, the United States more, but I'll probably continue to get it just because it's a mini series and whatnot. But other one I want to talk about real quick. If you want to talk about one, The Fourth Man, I know me and you both read it.
So another one, I mean, like since day one, we've been like on AWA, right? Like Hotel, I mean, you got, what was the other one? Like Red, it had the word red in it. Red Road or, huh?
Red Border.
I mean,
Border.
Bad Mother. There's been some really good books, and sure enough, the same artist from Bad Mother is on this one, The Fourth Man. It comes to you. by Jeff McCombsey and Mike Deodato Jr. on the art. Yeah, but
Yes, the Brazilian.
it's a good story so far. I mean, the front page is like one of those, used car lot little, like, those frilly things, and it says, 3 murders, 25 grand, or best offer. So pretty much what's probably going to happen is they're going to profile each murder in the first 3 issues, and then of course the fourth and final issue is going to come together and it's kind of solve, like whatever case. So I swear, man, some of these characters that Deodato Jr. like comes up with, and like the look of them, they're like actual like actors. Because this one guy, I swear he looks like Paul Giamatti, and then you saw the guy at the race at the dog track, he looked like Morgan Freeman. So like for sure, so
It's
this
like
guy
Morgan
who looks
Freeman.
like what's his name? The guy who looks like Paul Giamatti. What's his name? His name is James Wells, and so he's kind of like a gun for hire, and it's like like early '90s, and it is like the car lots and the Kawasaki's and these Japanese car owners are coming over, and they're kind of stealing business from the classic American cars, and one of the guys who owns these lots not too happy, so he hires Paul Giamatti.
PI,
to kind of like a private investigator, and like do what you got to do. Like I'll give how they kind of have a back and forth about money and everything. And of course, he takes some of that money to the dog track. And but yeah, and then he also is approached by 2 other guys who don't like seeing him at the dog track. And this is all. Yeah, I think he owes him money. Maybe I think he owes him money, and sure enough, it looks like the 2 sons, or at least one of the 2 is his sons, and like, hey, my dad finds out that you're here, he's not going to like it. So kind of, it's kind of like the Sharks.
And that's the one. His dad's the one that comes up with the bottle bottle hanging out the side of the car, right? The truck.
It could be.
That's the dad,
and
right?
what we see when that happens is, he kisses his wife goodbye. He's like, oh shoot, I got to go, because they find out that somebody else is murdered, and so he leaves. Exactly.
He
so
sees
he
the
leaves.
newspaper.
He's actually caught. Remember, he stakes out the 2 guys, and the bodyguard goes in to pick up some food, and then sure enough, he gets out of the car, and he doesn't see him, and the guy pulls him out of the car, punches him like, don't ever let me, like, stop following me, blah blah blah. And so he goes to the house the next morning, or he's at his house the next morning. He has to quickly leave. He says murder in Medford, like another, like, someone he knows. He looks like. Who's the guy who's from Apollo 13 but not Tom Hanks? What's his name? And he's dead. Shoot. What's his name?
I have no idea.
I forget, but it looks like him, like with long hair and a mustache. And so he sees that he's dead, and all of a sudden he goes outside. And the thing that I noticed the most was there was like a clover.
I look like the dude from the Bee Gees, bro.
Yeah, the clover.
Oh yeah,
on the
the
arm.
clover
so
on
something
the arm.
Irish. So he's Bill Paxton. I swear, look at that page, and then so look where he says "OF" when he looks at the newspaper, and look at that guy, and then look at Bill Paxton on Google when you when you get a chance. But yeah, so he gets shot. And it's pretty cool. It looks like he has a revolver, and it's attached to like a huge, like maybe like a wine bottle or alcohol bottle.
Mountain Dew bottle. It's a Mountain Dew bottle.
Oh shoot, that's right. It's Mountain Dew. That's pretty cool. So it's probably like a homemade.
Got me all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
So it's like a homemade silencer. It seems like, and so so who's next? Because they have 3 murders to look at. So he was like the first guy who they profiled. So issue 2 and 3 are going to be the other 2 murders. So this story is going to unfold. It seems pretty cool. That's my take on the story.
Mike's already calling what the next 2 issues are going to be. Look at that, man. Look at that. But how do you like the cover? I love how they made the cover look like a movie poster.
Yeah, of course.
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. 3 murders, 25 grand, or best offer. Really, really good book. I haven't really gotten too much AWA in a while, I think, but this book was pretty good. I like it, obviously murder, mystery type stuff, private investigator, which is hecka funny because the next book I'm going to talk about, the protagonist is also a private investigator. This is that Bylines in Blood, excuse me, by Erica Schultz, Van Jensen on the art. This is Aftershock Comics, guys. Very, very good book, very fun to read. I really like how I always mention it, how pop culture has so much to play in these comics. I love how, in this book, the cover, they had people are wearing the mask and whatnot, a book that we're going to get into a little bit in like a couple minutes, probably the next book we talk about in Detective. You see how that's like the whole Arkham and whatnot, how that's really Tamaki's making it about mental health and like, it's kind of, if you really think about how she's shooting like her story, you hear like other countries like and their like jail system and whatnot, how they imprison people. It's not as harsh as like America. They try to like, it's like what I read in that Arkham Tower. It's kind of like the same thing, like how it's like people have like real issues, right? There's really like mental health issues and whatnot, and sometimes just locking them up isn't the right way to just do it, so yeah, so there's so much like pop culture that goes into it, but we'll talk about that one next in a little bit after this one. This one is pretty much, some girl, I think she's like Middle Eastern or Indian. Her name's Satya Chatterjee.
It sounds Indian. I believe it's Indian.
She's Chatterjee. So she was a lead investigative reporter for a Herald newspaper. She turns a private investigator, and she's like, I don't think she's really hitting it off that much, kind of doing smaller jobs because, the book starts off, she's like capturing some chick that her parents can't find. And her parents, like, I guess, paid this private investigator to see what their daughter was up to. And then she like brings her home, and she's saying that the parents might be crazy. But anyway, she's getting paid like money to do these smaller jobs. And then basically one of her former boss, a mentor that she worked with at the Herald, the one that has the newspaper, he comes up dead. The daughter comes and talks to her and says that her dad died, and that basically the daughter is going to offer her a bunch of money to go back and investigate what happened to her dad, because he had a journal, a newspaper company, and he was real critical on like the mayor and everything. And they're thinking that the mayor had part to do in it, that they, the way he died, they just left him there for like 3 days in an alley and whatnot. It's a pretty crazy story. So there's like an underground truth society that pretty much is like these little like drones, and they follow you around 24/7, and you can pick to do that. So like your life is being filmed 24/7. So like nothing can ever be in like question. So yeah, it's crazy, dude. Like the mayor, it's like another thing with pop culture. The mayor had something to do like with some scandal when it came to like voting, the voting bills and whatnot. So it's like there's just so many things that remind me of what just goes on in like real life and whatnot. But it was a real good read, dude. Like I said, a lot of the books that I got this week were about murder, mystery, private investigators and whatnot, but really fun, dude. I'd have to, if I had to put it up there between, I mean, that was probably one of the better weeks that I've had in a while to kick off the New Year's, right? With the Detective being as good as it was, Batman decent, but having these 3 smaller publishers and Aftershock, AWA, and Source Point Press delivering me 3 action mystery thrillers that I was really excited to read, man.
Nice.
That's a good week for me, man.
Speaking of mystery, I'm going to get to the second best Batman book of the week, which is Batman 119, another mystery in itself. So Lex Luthor is offering to help him, offers him that wine. How crazy was that story about the wine and how old it was and stuff. I was like, oh,
yes,
dude. And then
that
he
was
just pours
cool.
it out and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So
yeah. And he says it's not even about how good the wine is. It's more about just like the story. You're pretty much paying. It was a $20 million bottle. He's like, even a drop costs more than most people's salaries yearly or whatever.
So back to Abyss. Batman Incorporated, of course, is being investigated, but we knew it wasn't going to be that easy. So they take the body that's supposed to be Abyss into the morgue, into the police department, and of course, sure enough, they have like a few sentences with each other. They turn around and Abyss's body is gone. And who is it? It's Batman. And he wants to be able to look at the body before Lex gets a chance to look at the body. So he's like, give me 90 seconds. Like, sound the alarm, get everyone up to the roof. Like, I want to look at this body. And sure enough, It's not a body that's been dead for 2 days, but it looks like it's been a body that's been dead at least 2 to 3 months. So sure, and then the lights go off. Abyss is like, I'm not dead. I'm a creature of darkness, born in the dark, just like you. Like, he's questioning like why are you doing this? How are you doing this? Because it looks like he's just like floating, And sure enough, the lights get turned back on by the detective that he's kind of working with, and it looks like he's been split open across the belly, and the bat is blind. Like Jim Carrey said, "You're as blind as a bat" in Batman Forever as the Riddler. But yeah, I mean, so something was on his blade, some kind of like poison. I'm assuming to make him blind, to make him hallucinate, see things or whatever. So who knows what the story holds for Batman 120 and Abyss. So obviously Abyss is not dead, but we see him for the first time have an interaction with Batman. It didn't go so well for Bruce. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. It was all right. Williamson doing his Williamson stuff, I guess. I mean, it's good. I want him to not keep it. I want him to really. How can I put this? I want him to not have it like so bland. Like I want him to like really make me think about this, the story, it's Batman. I don't want it to be like an easy read or kind of all the, you know what I mean?
Although we love Tynion, he created a lot of new characters, and sometimes just give me a badass story with like Penguin. Give me a badass story with Two-Face, Riddler, or something. That's some good writing right there. Sometimes when you have to keep creating something like Williamson did with The Flash on his run and with Batman and everything, sometimes it's like, I don't really need a new character.
Yeah.
Give me something cool with Bane, like the City of Bane, the Joker War. Like, give me something like that. Like, I love that. I love that kind of stuff. And then Tynion did it with, of course he created this whole thing with Peacekeeper 1 and the Magistrate and Miracle Molly and the Clown Hunter, but all the same while he's fighting against like Joker and Scarecrow. So it's like new stuff, but it's also got a little bit of flavor, a little bit of hot sauce, a little bit of salt of like the old school stuff too. So I want, so hopefully he has more in store with Lex and that side of it, but the whole Abyss thing, it's not working for me, but I want him to reel it back. And when he comes back to Gotham, get me a good story with like,
Yeah, thank you. You probably you put it perfectly for me right there.
I haven't seen Mr. Freeze have like a cool arc with Batman yet in my years of reading. Not yet. So.
Yeah. Hector, what's his name? Freeze?
Oh god dang it. Well,
Doctors.
His
Doctor.
His
real name.
Oh god damn it! I mean, his name is Dr. Freeze. Like
Freeze, I know it's like Fris, but I can't remember his damn first name. It's so annoying.
It's just past 11:00 at night. That's sometimes my brain and my memory doesn't work like that. But all right, dude, let's get into the last book before we go over too much time. Detective Comics 1047. The Tower is good. The Tower is up and running. The Tower is being displayed for the whole city of Gotham to see, and its results. Apparently, the results are coming in. Apparently,
yeah, it's being praised by Dr. Ware and Nakano, and Nakano was scared shitless when that one guy comes out and
right?
He takes him off his cuffs, right? The guy that supposedly attacked Nakano. Nero, what's his name? Nero,
yeah, like
XIX
Nero 19.
Or whatever the hell.
I'm going to say just 19 because that's what I.
Yeah, Nero. That's what his name. Nero
by the
19,
way,
yeah.
My wife is flagging her phone at me right now. Victor Freeze. Well,
Victor Freeze.
you pronounce
Hector.
it Freeze.
I said Hector, dude.
But his villain name, he changes it to actual Freeze. So yeah.
Victor Hector. I was close. I had the tour. I had the tour part of it.
You were closer than me. I didn't get a
Hector
freaking answer.
Freeze.
So, I mean, I mean, yeah, I mean, this was a good issue. This was definitely a good issue. You see Chase Meridian is still there. She's, of course, we learned from the last week's issue, she's the eyes and ears for Batman while he's gone at the Arkham Tower, so who knows? But, dude, like, I did not expect... Okay, go ahead and see what you're saying, because I'm going to get to later in the issue.
And once again, the pop culture part of it, because, like, you got the Deb Donovan... She's questioning
TMZ
the hell out of she can't find
TMZ in the house.
Huh? Yeah, she can't find like the Dr. Ware's credentials, right. And now they got the underground gangs like selling pharmaceuticals. Like, where are they getting it from? The party crashers, pharmaceutical drug deals are on this rise on the streets. Yeah, there's like a crew called the Party Crashers that are dealing it and whatnot. And then the story just gets crazy with the chick that's doing the arts and crafts in the basement.
But that was like, what, day 7, right? Like a week after it's been open. And then it goes day 24. And then, of course, in classic Arkham, I don't care if it's Arkham Asylum, Arkham Tower, the inmates have taken over the asylum, and so Bruce Wayne, 24 days later, so 3.5 weeks later, he's still not there in Gotham. So you have the other Bat family of Oracle trying to contact Nightwing, and spoiler, they're not coming in. But it doesn't look like they're in their suits. So like, it's going to be a huge Tarantino kind of story where they go back and forth to like day 8 and then up to day 30, back to day 12 and up to day 21. They're going to like go like, why are they in their street clothes? Are they acting like they're inmates to kind of, I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. But sure enough, the guy who was in the beginning of the issue that Dr. Ware tried to say, okay, hey, Mr. Nakano, don't worry, he's not gonna try to hurt. The guy who, Nero 19, he's part of that 19. Crew with Anna. That was her name, who was doing the arts and crafts. So yeah, that was her name.
Oh,
when
really?
She was at the table doing arts and crafts, that was her name, Anna. I tried to do a deep dive, and it could be like
she needed glue.
It could be one of 3 characters, like Anna von Braun, or it could be something else. So, well, I'm not going to spoil it for myself by looking at like Wikipedia DC style. I'll read the next like 11 weeks in a row, because that's what this story is. It's a weekly story for like 3 months. Going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think that this one's going to be real good. The art is great in this book. I love the picture of Ware being thrown out the building, the grass just breaking, and just, man, like that, like you said, that main centerfold or whatever, the center picture with the day 24, and it's just Arkham like just at it again. I love how the end part where it's like being attacked and they show that on the chick, and it's just like all red. It turns red because just the blood. She got the scissor. It's just, man, I am loving the detective story. I say it every week. And you're going to hear it a lot more because, like you said, it's going to be every week. So, and then how does it end, man? It ends even crazier, dude, with
Huntress looks like she's at the top of the elevator, like at the top of the actual thing in the elevator shaft, and it looks like she's messed up. She's been stabbed somehow. So who knows? Maybe it was by those scissors that we've seen throughout the end of that issue, but who knows? So there's the comic book talk for the week.
What about that backstory, though? The end story. I asked you, who's that kid?
I really don't know, because I don't think they said a name, but it was, it is a crazy story. And you know what? It might be one of those stories to where they kind of unveil after this whole Detective Comics run. Who knows, that this might be the story for the whole time, So the kid's parents are brutally murdered by the Joker, and where do they take the kid? Surprisingly enough, is Arkham Asylum, which is kind of weird. So, House of Gotham,
right?
That was chapter 1. So who knows? This could be the long-running story after these Detective Comics for like 12 straight weeks. So who knows? It could be one of those things where it's like an origin story of, that's really Scarecrow. Because I don't know if they said a name. Did they say a name? Maybe the husband and wife call each other by their first names, but I can't remember. They called the kid a name. So I'll look back at it and we'll.
That was it's funny too, because like I said, in the Joker, he's dealing with his son in the Joker, the one that Tynion's writing, and then like you get this little backstory, and now it's like him as Gordon. I mean, it's not his son, but it's like someone's son. It's just kind of made me think about it. But yeah, dude, that little House of Gotham, Matthew Rosenberger and Fernando Blanco on the art, little cool story at the end of Detective.
Yep. So let's get into a few
1047.
quick things in the comic book, TV, movie, entertainment news. I'll let you do the box office because I know it's going to be the same damn piece of news we have as the last couple weeks.
Yeah,
So-
why? What's the point?
Yeah.
Even Seeing 2 came in at number 2. Obviously, they're holding true to their number. Spider-Man, obviously, number 1. The 355, never even heard of it. Kingsman is in 4th. American Underdog. American Underdog, that's that one movie, right? With, isn't American Underdog that movie with, what's his name? Where it's supposed to be about, oh my God,
Oh, yeah,
Kurt
yeah.
Warner or something?
The guy who played
it's
the guy who
about
played
Kurt
Shazam.
Warner, who went from
Yeah.
Shazam.
The guy who played Shazam is playing Kurt Warner in that movie.
What the hell? What's his name? It's what the hell's that dude's name? Zach or something? Zach. Whatever. I can't think of his name right now.
Again, it's now 11:09 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's right. Zachary Levine or Zachary Levin. Yeah.
Levine. No, Zachary. Yeah.
So cool. I have just a few pieces of news to go over. So the Eternals is released tomorrow, so Wednesday. So when everyone's listening to this podcast or watching it right now, it's almost midnight. But Disney Plus will be dropping Eternals tomorrow, so another movie in the MCU that you'll be able to watch and keep up with. Over on the DC side, HBO Max Peacekeeper, the John Cena kind of spin-off series from the Suicide Squad, that premieres this Thursday on HBO Max. And finally, Ben Affleck is going to officially hang up the cape and cowl after the Flash movie comes out, stating various things, that he's had the most fun being Batman just in these small shoots for the Flash and of course the reshoots for Justice League, but it became too much, the stress of just being with Batman vs Superman, and then of course the first iteration of Justice League. He said that it drove him to drink, but then my wife said that he also said that his longtime marriage with Jennifer Garner also drove him to drink, so she's not buying that BS. But Ben Affleck is gonna finally officially hang up the cape and cowl. I hope that we can. I don't know if we're gonna transition. Obviously, I don't think that what's his name? God damn it! What's his name? The Batman. Who's playing the Batman? Robert Pattinson. I don't think they're gonna obviously kind of they're not going to mesh that with the DCEU. That's going to be a side thing, but I hope that he can be, the Batman successfully for years to come. So I'm very much looking forward to that movie. I will hopefully be seeing that the opening weekend of that movie.
They already got the on the back of the detective books. They already got
what the Riddler looks
advertisements for them.
Gonna be a good one. Gonna be fun.
That's not just the Riddler. I thought that was Jonathan.
No, he's got a big
Crane.
question mark on him. Yes, go back to the issue and look at it.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
But it looks like it.
That's
That's what me and my wife were talking about. That's what me and Danielle were talking about earlier. It was like, he looks like he should be the Scarecrow. But I'm going to give it a chance because that's like year 2. Maybe like the Riddler's trying to get a feel for what he wants to actually look like. Maybe like not right off the bat, Edward Nygma is the green top hat and green suit with the question mark cane rolling around. Maybe he's much more sinister and sadistic in the beginning, or this is just another iteration, like the Joker the movie. Like the Joker. This is not what you usually see in the comic books. He only went bad towards the end because so many things just kept piling up, and we have the the underlying mental health issue going on at the same time in this movie. You never see that in a Joker story or in a Batman story involving the Joker. You just assume that he's just psychotic and sadistic, and that's just who he is. You never heard like a backstory of really the Joker and how he kind of came to be. So maybe we get that. It's supposed to be part of year 2. Catwoman looks badass too. So does Colin Farrell as the Penguin. He looks probably like he's gonna be like one of my favorite characters of the story. So I'm super excited.
That's gonna be a pretty bad movie.
Do you have any other news? Because
so.
I only have one other
so.
piece of things.
Well, I got this Spider-Man news, man. I don't know if you heard, but Spider-Man is going to be not finally, but for the
Yeah.
sixth time. And for the, sixth time since 1963, Spider-Man will be the amazing ASM, the Amazing Spider-Man in April. It's actually going to be pretty much rebooted for the sixth volume. And Frank Romita Jr., I guess, is supposed to be playing a big part in it. This is going to be it's going to be like his eighth run. He's been on Amazing Spider-Man in the 80s, 80 to 84, 87, 95, 98. I mean, all different types of runs, with the last one being in 2012. So he's out here. I don't know too much about him. I know that he wrote that, that Superman Year One when we first started doing this podcast, and I read that one. Pretty good book. But yeah, man, just if you guys are Frank Romita, I don't know if it's Romita, you pronounce it Romita. I don't know if it. Oh yeah, sorry, no, John. Oh yeah,
I think.
John Romita.
Yeah, I think it's John Romita.
So I'm thinking it's.
Yeah, John Romita Jr.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
John Romita Jr. And his dad
he
was
co-created
the one that
Spider-Man with Stan Lee.
Sorry. So yeah. John Romita Jr. If you guys are reading Amazing Spider-Man, gonna get rebooted for the sixth time. Maybe I'll hop on.
I've never had a Spider-Man story.
I mean?
I've read like an Avengers story where Spider-Man's in it. But yeah, that's something to look forward to come April for sure.
And I know people might not like the reboots, but look, I mean, kind of smart if Marvel got two dudes that do a comic book sports podcast here that are saying that maybe they'll pick it up. So
last bit of news before we head out for the week. The All-American dad that we grew up with, the guy who gave us cat videos before YouTube gave you cat videos, he meshed more into the comic, the stand-up comedy side in later years in life. But man, the dad from the house in San Francisco of some daughters, Bob Saget, dead. I forgot what the age. I don't think he was that old. 65 years old. They didn't find any type of foul play. My wife did say that the house cleaning lady came in because he was supposed to check out, but he didn't. They didn't see him check out or leave. So she went in there and his hand was over his heart. So maybe an apparent heart attack or something, but that's a sad, when we've had, people in Hollywood or in sport for the books, kind of, I definitely grew up with him. I watched Full House. I didn't watch the current one on Netflix, Fuller House, but definitely watched that. And America's Funniest Home Videos for years and years was definitely something that I, sat on the couch or sat on the ground right in front of my couch. My parents are on there, and at 7:00 every Sunday we watched that, and it was, part of my childhood. Was Fuller, huh?
Was Fuller House all the same cast?
Fuller House is, I think, most of the cast. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Obviously, the lady who's in jail right now is not in it, but
fight on.
Get out of here. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I think that's it for the comic and entertainment book section, and that's it for Comic Bookies episode 139. Mark, take us away, my friend.
Take us away to paradise. But no, guys, I don't know how long we've gone. I think it's been a little bit long, but sorry if it's been stretched out, but it's always fun. Never know when to stop. I could go for another hour, if it wasn't so late. But thank you, everybody that has joined tonight on Twitch or YouTube or popped in live to say what's up. Thank you, everybody that's going to download this. And thank you, everybody that continues to support this podcast. Once again, if you like it, share it. It's the best thing that you can do. Like, write a review, 5-star it, all those goodies. But check us out always on social media at The Comic Bookies, and also thecomicbookies@gmail.com if you want to email us something. But nonetheless, dude, we are always striving to get better, always striving to try to grow this podcast, and hopefully got some things on the horizon for 2022. I thought you knew. But yes, this has been 139, and it has been fine. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mike. Hopefully Sean will be back soon. But until then, you got us. And yeah. thank you guys for tuning in, and I will talk to you. I will talk to you guys. It is late. I will talk to you guys next week. Mike, you say your goodbyes, and
Yes, sir.
that's it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, but Sean hopefully will be on within the next week or so. But hope everyone enjoys the new shows, new movies coming out. Hope everyone enjoys a wild card weekend in the NFL. Just to give you a quick update, we don't have any new countries to stamp on the Comic Bookies passport, but we do have a new top 5 over the last 10 episodes. We have, of course, the San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose area is number 1, LA number 2, Nashville jumps into the top 5 at number 3, New York still standing strong, and of course out here in the Valley, the Sacramento area is number 5. Las Vegas is now out of the top 5, but hopefully we can bring them back in with a lot of Vegas talk today. So for Sean and Mark, this has been Mike for the Comic Bookies Podcast 139. Thank you so much for tuning in live and listening wherever you get your podcasts. But enjoy the sports, enjoy the comics, and enjoy each other. Peace the hell out. We'll see you next week. Go Raiders!
Peace. Always enjoy each other. And if your team made the playoffs wild card, enjoy them as well.
Playoffs.
Cherish life. Playoffs. Cherish life. And we'll be back next week for 140. Thank you. We love you. Peace.